Welcome to the video. This is going to be a very basic, straightforward guide how you can get yourself set up in a DayZ standalone server very quick and easily. First thing you need to do is connect to your server. Okay, we're in. I've got a few servers already running. Never mind that. We'll just leave them going and jump right into my notes file here. Now you can also download my notes file. I've put a link in the description to everything what we're going to be needing and using. So if you find that you can't find something, just look in the repository and I'm sure it'll be there. First step was our easy one, we're already done. Connect to the server. Now open the hard drive that you'd like to install the server on. For me, I'm going to go with my D drive and create a new folder. We'll call mine Game Servers. You can call it whatever you want, but for the purposes of this specific tutorial, if you keep your naming and whatnot the same way I do mine, it'll be very helpful when it comes to the automatic scripts and whatnot. So we'll name it Game Servers. Create a new folder inside this folder, call that Steam CMD. I've already done that. Download Steam CMD and extract it to this folder. Here's the Steam CMD link. It's also in the description. Once that's downloaded, extract it and copy the file, put it in your Steam CMD folder here. Once it's inside this folder, you want to run it and it'll install all these Steam files, and that's your Steam CMD setup. Alright, let's create some new folders in our game servers directory here. We'll need a new folder for our actual server, so DayZ SA Test Server. And we'll go into this folder and we'll make some new folders again, more new folders. We're going to want four new folders. Now we want to name them Backup, Beck, Server Configs, and Server Files. Next step. Download my create server file and place it inside your DayZ SA Test Server folder. So we're already in this folder. Let's go and grab this file here. Create server.bat. Download. Download, create server, cut. Put this file in your server folder right here. Right click it and edit it with a text editor. You want to make sure you fill out your username here, Steam username, it's on line 6, and your Steam password. Of course, I'm not going to put mine in while it's on screen. You want to make sure that line 10 matches that folder you've just created, server files. In my case, it does. If it doesn't, just change names here to what you have named your specific files and folders. You also want to make sure that your Steam CMD path is correct. So again, that is Steam CMD, this folder right here. Make sure that's in there. Update server, downloading server files, Steam CMD. Okay, that's everything. Save the file and then run it to start the installation of your server. It is now downloading all the files it needs for the DayZ server. Okay, downloading is complete. Press any key to continue. Great. Let's move on to the next step. Once installation is complete, open the folder server files. You'll see all of your server files have been downloaded here. Right click and rename the DayZ server x64.exe. Let's name it server 1. Now we need to do this to make sure if you want to host multiple servers, for example, it won't conflict with the scripts that you have to restart, prevent the server from crashing, all that stuff. So we'll just name that a unique name. We'll call it server 1. I know that I don't have any other servers running on this machine called server 1, so that's a good name for us to use. Please do this if you're following along with the video tutorial, as you will have problems if you name it something else. You can name it something else, but for our purposes, we'll name it server 1. Okay, next step is port forwarding. We need to decide now which ports we want to use, because each server needs a bunch of different ports forwarding for it to function properly. Each method of forwarding your ports is different, so I can only show you my method. You're going to have to work out whether if you need to call somebody to help you do that, or you know what you need to do. But I will just go and quickly forward these ports now, and you can see how I do it. So I'm logging in now to my router, my internet router. Port forwarding right here in my security settings. For you, it might be different. Port forwarding is beyond the scope of this tutorial, so if you just look up online different methods on how to do it, you should find it relatively easily. If you know your router, internet company, so I'm going to create a new rule. I already know that my local IP address is 70, and my start port 2500, end port 2510. External, I'm going to do the same. Both enabled. So that should just cover us. I'm not sure if it uses UDP or TCP or both, but I'm just going to select both, because if it does and I choose no, then we'll have problems. So I always choose both. So double check your port is 2500, 2500, 2510, 2510. Okay, that's great. Add rule. Applying settings. Great, that's set that port right there for us. Apply changes. Settings have been updated. Great, so that's us done now. That will cover all the ports this one server needs to use. Alright, on to the next step. Open Game Servers, DayZ SA Test Server, Server Configs folder. Now, where did I put that? It's in here, Server Configs. Create a new folder and name it BattleEye. Inside this BattleEye folder, create 2 new files and name them bands.txt and name the other one be server underscore x64. That's a lowercase x. Edit the file be server underscore x64 with a text editor and add the following. Notice how we're using this port. Make sure you write that also. Change my Archon password to a password of your choice and save and close the file. File, save as .cfg, all types, save. So we've got that config file now. We can go ahead and delete the text file. So we've got 2 files in this folder, bands and be server underscore x64.cfg. In this file we have archon password, then change that to your archon password, whatever you want. Just make sure the port is the same how I have it here. Alright, next step, download Beck. This will be responsible for ensuring your servers restart and send messages to the player. Yeah, okay, so what this program does is it stops your server at a specific time, but it also sends messages to the players to warn them that a server restart is coming up. So double click this, download this file here. Extract it. And copy all of the files into your Beck folder. Just like that. You want to change the name again of the application from Beck to Beck1. That'll just make sure we can host more servers later if we want to. Different maps, different games, that kind of thing. So we'll just change, because Beck doesn't just work for DayZ, it also works for a bunch of other games as well. So we've done that. Now we need to open the Beck config file located in the Beck folder and the config folder, this config file here. Edit it with a text editor. You can see Beck is just restarting on one of the servers now. Don't worry about that, that'll just do its own thing. So line 17, we need to change the port. We're not using this port, we're using... Oh, that's wrong. We're actually using 5. Okay, line 21 is your BattleEye path. Make sure you set this to your server's BattleEye path. So in your server config folder, BattleEye, that's your server's BattleEye path. So copy this, paste it here. Make sure it's right. It is. Never trust computers. Scroll down. Admins file, commands file. That's fine. That's fine. Ban 3. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Server exe name right here. We need to change this. So uncomment this line. And what did we call ours? Server1. Server1.exe. Sorry about Beck, keeps restarting all the time. So let's go to server files, server1, server1. Great. Bad words, whitelist, kick messages, scheduler. Timeout, change this timeout here to 30. And I think that's it for the Beck file, config file. So we're done. Save that file, close it. There's some more notes here if you want to read them and double check everything you've done. Configuration for automatic server restarts and warning messages. This is done in the Beck file, config file folder, scheduler.xml document. Right click and edit this file. It's currently set up for 12-hour restarts. Now, if you ask me for DayZ, I would recommend strongly for a 4 to 6 hour restart. So you can go through this and edit it how you wish, or you can just keep it all as default. It'll warn your players every 12 hours when there's going to be a restart. You don't want to run 12 hours on a DayZ server as it can get quite unstable. Next step, you're going to want to have download and install WinRAR. So I've already done that, but you can go here to download it. 64-bit, 32-bit, whatever rocks your boat. Server start, restart, update, backup, and crash protection scripts. Now these are very important if you want to be a responsible server administrator. You don't want to have dead servers and people messaging you in the middle of the night saying server down. So I've included 3 scripts to take care of these things. Start_server.bat, logs_backup, and data_backup.bat. You can grab them from the Dropbox. So we want startserver.bat, logs.bat, backup, and data_backup.bat. Hey. Download and paste these in Game Servers DayZ SA Test Server Server Files folder. Okay, let's go back. Server files. So you want to put these exactly where your server 1 application is. That's done. Alright, next step. Edit start_server.bat. In here, there's a few things you want to change. You want to put your Steam username in, your Steam password in. I'm going to do that in a second. Make sure that your DayZ server path is correct. Make sure the Steam CMD path is correct. Make sure your Beck path is correct. Not your BadLI path. This is your Beck path. You can go through and just make sure that you haven't renamed anything. If you have, change them. In here, for example, server1.exe, beck1.exe, beck1.exe, server1, beck1. And on line 63, very important, make sure your profiles folder is correct. For us, Game Servers, DayZ Test Server, Server Configs. And also change the port. Remember, we're using 2502. If you're following this video, you also need to use 2502. Otherwise, put the port that you've chosen. And there's another beck.exe tag here as well. Don't forget to make sure that's correct. beck1.exe is correct. Save and close this. Now edit the logs_backup.bat. Where's that? There it is. In this file, make sure line 7 is your WinRAR location where you've installed WinRAR. Line 8, make sure that's going to your server config folder. And line 9, make sure that also has the correct path to your server config folder. The backup one, sorry. Your backup folder, server configs. Great. If you don't have this server configs inside the backup, you don't need to worry about that. The script will create it. Just make sure that the paths are set. Further down, make sure line 16 to your server files path is in there. Save that file, close it. Now open data_backup.bat. Make sure, again, line 7 wants to be your WinRAR directory. Line 8 is your mission file. That's where all the player data is being stored. You definitely want to back this up, so make sure the path to this is correct. Make sure line 9 is also correct. That goes to your server files, the backup folder, server files. And that's it. Close that. Open Game Servers, Server Files, Server DZ.config. So we're already in the Server Files folder. We want to find Server DZ config file. Right click this, open it with a text editor. Change your name, put a password, change any other settings you want. But I think a very important step here is somewhere around the middle. Let's say here. You want to copy and paste this line here. Steam query port equals, and then the port's what you've chosen. For this video tutorial, we're in the 500 range, so it's 2505. Defines the Steam query port should fix issues with server not being visible in server client browser. Great. We definitely want to add that in there. So, example name, let's just call it test server. Probably never going to use it. If you'd like a different map, you would change that down here. You would just put which map you're using in here. Once you've filled that out, hit save, close it. Server is ready to be started. Now, that was relatively painless. Shall we test it? Oh, we've got to test it, right? Okay, it runs a quick update, which failed because I didn't put my Steam username and password in, so make sure you do that. Now it's doing a backup. Now it's starting the server. Let's make this a bit smaller. Okay, servers started. Are we on the right port? Yeah, 2502. That's the port we chose. Don't forget to set your Archon password. And we're just waiting for Beck to boot up. Make sure that's working. Okay, the server's in idle mode now, so that's successfully started up. We're just waiting for Beck to go ahead and connect to the Archon. And it's connected. Now that'll restart the server at default by every 12 hours. You do want to change that though, so set up your own restarts and your own warning messages every 4 to 6 hours, probably the best. And that's it, your server's ready to connect. I hope you have enjoyed this video and found it a little bit helpful. I know it's a little bit confusing, all this stuff, but I think we got there. And we've made sure the server will restart if it crashes, and we've made sure it'll back itself up on every restart, so you'll have plenty of logs and data to go through if you ever need to restore anything. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content explaining how to set up DayZ servers, mods, scripts, add-ons, anything like that, and I'll be more than happy to put them up for you. And you always want to give it a really cool color as well. Everybody likes the green matrix color. You have to.